Most people remember Mike Tyson as the unstoppable force of boxing, a young prodigy who became the youngest heavyweight champion in history. His knockout power was legendary, his fame undeniable. But behind the glory, the belts, and the roaring crowds, Tyson carried wounds that few ever glimpsed. The world saw a fighter who could conquer anyone in the ring, but few saw the boy from Brownsville, New York, haunted by trauma, loss, and a desperate need for belonging. This is the story of the pain behind the power, the heartbreak hidden behind a life of fame. Childhood in Brownsville. Before the world knew his name, Tyson was a scared, hungry child wandering the streets of Brownsville. Abandoned, beaten, and left to fend for himself, he never truly understood the concept of family. Every day was a fight for survival, and every encounter left him more hardened, more isolated. He learned to protect himself through fear and aggression. This environment didn't just shape his body, it forged the explosive power that would one day terrify opponents in the ring. Survival was the only rule, and Tyson became a fighter not out of choice, but out of necessity. The arrival of a mentor. In the midst of chaos, one man saw potential in the broken boy. Cus D'Amato didn't just teach Tyson to box, he taught him to believe in himself. He became the father figure Tyson had never had, offering guidance, discipline, and unconditional support. Under Cus, the outcast transformed into a disciplined prodigy. The angry, abandoned child began to envision a future. Cus instilled more than technique, he instilled hope. But this newfound stability would be short-lived, and Tyson would soon face the deepest emotional loss of his life, a loss that would shape every step of his journey. The loss of Cus D'Amato's death was more than the passing of a mentor. It was the shattering of Tyson's emotional foundation. The boy who had finally felt safe and loved now faced the world alone. Without Cus's guidance, the young champion struggled to navigate fame, fortune, and the pressures of being the youngest heavyweight champion ever. The stability and security that had anchored him disappeared overnight, leaving him vulnerable to manipulation and exploitation. The world continued to cheer his victories, unaware of the fragile man beneath the surface. The seeds of future struggles were sown during this devastating chapter of loss. Early fame and its challenges. Tyson's victories in the ring made him a global sensation. At just 20 years old, he became the youngest heavyweight champion, celebrated as a phenomenon. Promoters, sponsors, and fans clamored for him, drawn to his power and charisma. But the glittering world of fame was deceptive. While Tyson dominated in the ring, his personal life unraveled. Those closest to him often had selfish motives, exploiting him financially and emotionally. He had the world at his feet, yet felt increasingly isolated. The same fear and insecurity from his childhood resurfaced, intensified by the pressures of fame, wealth, and expectation. The marriage that shattered the image. In 1988, Tyson married actress Robin Givens, and the world watched, believing it was a happy chapter. But behind closed doors, their relationship was turbulent. Arguments, distrust, and emotional strain dominated their home. Tyson struggled to manage fame, unresolved trauma, and his temper, while Givens felt trapped and overwhelmed. Their marriage became a pressure cooker, building tension that would eventually explode publicly. A now infamous interview revealed the cracks, showing a vulnerable Tyson caught between confusion, embarrassment, and heartbreak. Overnight, public perception shifted, exposing the man behind the myth and revealing a fragility the world had never imagined. Public humiliation and personal turmoil. The Barbara Walters interview marked a turning point. Tyson, still grieving Cus, was forced to confront public scrutiny and judgment. While the world focused on scandal, he grappled with deep humiliation and emotional pain. The pressures of fame intensified, driving him toward reckless decisions and dangerous influences. Tyson's personal life spiraled as he tried to fill a void no title belt could satisfy. Though the world saw a champion, inside he felt imprisoned by fear, anger, and loneliness. Each knockout in the ring contrasted sharply with personal defeats beyond public view, showing that power could not shield him from human vulnerability. The conviction that rocked the world. In 1992, Tyson faced a conviction that would forever alter his legacy. The legal battle, media frenzy, and societal judgment compounded his personal struggles. Headlines painted a picture of chaos, but they only skimmed the surface of a man struggling to cope with lifelong trauma. Tyson's story became synonymous with scandal, yet his efforts to heal and rebuild were largely overlooked. The conviction wasn't just a legal defeat, it was a moment that tested his resilience, forcing him to confront the consequences of decisions made amid a life of instability, pain, and unchecked influence. Rebuilding amid chaos. Despite setbacks, Tyson has spent decades attempting to reclaim his life. He faced addiction, financial loss, and emotional turmoil, yet continued to seek stability and purpose. Rebuilding wasn't about titles or fame. It was about survival, growth, and self-understanding. The pain of his past remained, but he worked to transform it into lessons, using his story as both a warning and inspiration. Tyson's journey shows that resilience is not defined by victories alone, but by the courage to continue living and striving after life attempts to break you, no matter how many times. The real victory. Mike Tyson's greatest triumph is not measured in championships or paydays, but in survival. The boy who wandered the streets of Brownsville, broken and alone, endured a life filled with unimaginable hardships. He faced the loss of mentors, personal betrayal, public humiliation, and criminal conviction. Yet, through it all, he continues to confront his past and rebuild his identity. Understanding Tyson requires looking beyond the myth of the monster in the ring to the man who fought to reclaim himself. His story is a reminder that true victory is living with courage, resilience, and humanity despite life's relentless challenges. Conclusion: the man behind the myth. Mike Tyson's life is a study in contrasts, power and vulnerability, fame and isolation, triumph and tragedy. The world witnessed a champion, but few saw the boy who bore lifelong trauma, the man who struggled with addiction, or the heartache that defined him. Today, Tyson's story is no longer just about boxing. It's about survival, resilience, and the human capacity to endure and grow. By sharing his journey, we gain a deeper understanding of the man behind the legend, flawed, human, and remarkably determined to reclaim his life against the odds.